And we got to talk some Tigers. And joining us now, like he does every Tuesday afternoon, it's Matt Infield from Action News 5. Matt, thanks so much for joining us. A lot to get into, but the Tigers are heading to the conference tournament in Birmingham. They'll get the men's side of the tournament started Wednesday night against a Tulane team that they just beat on Sunday. What'd you make of that game? It felt like it was a must-win because you didn't want to leave the hopes of going to the conference tournament in the hands of East Carolina and UAB. What did you make of that back-and-forth game where Tulane's up early, Memphis comes back, Tulane gets up in overtime? What did you make of that game on Sunday?
Yeah, pretty wild roller coaster of emotions for sure, because you're watching the first half of that game and they get down double digits, and you're thinking that even in this game, which really was for their season, that they're going to wilt and kind of fold the way they have in a bunch of other games this year, and then they come out in the second half, on a mission really, and immediately chip away at that lead and take the lead back, and then up by 9 with under 2 minutes left, and you think they've got the game wrapped up, and somehow, some way, they blow that lead. At the same time this is happening, I'm watching the scoreboard in Birmingham between East Carolina and UAB, and it looked like East Carolina had a really good chance to win that game. And then, obviously, the Green Wave go up for 6 points in overtime, and you're thinking they're really in trouble again. And then this team showed a level of resolve that they really haven't all season, but they found it at the most important time, which is a credit to them. And they deserve all the criticism and flack this year, but I will give them on Sunday. They dug deep in a way that we have not seen them all year at the most critical moment. Obviously, a lot of a lot of credit to go around. Quante Berry certainly comes to mind. Gerardo Still in the second half. Doug McDaniel, Aaron Bradshaw, a couple of those and ones in overtime. So, yeah, gutsy win. And they did not fold under pressure like they have throughout the course of the season. So we keep going, at least for one more game.
Yep. We do. How heavy are you packed for Birmingham? You packed through Sunday, aren't you?
The better question is not how heavy I'm packed. It's how many nights have I reserved the hotel. And right now we are going night to night because I will not be out a couple $100 on non-refundable hotels if they get knocked out tomorrow night. So we are booking for tomorrow night, and if they win, we'll go from there.
That's why you're a pro. I mean, you know how the game is played.
This time of year is that way.
It sure is. What did you make earlier today? I know a lot of people have been talking about the American releasing their postseason honors voted on by the coaches, and throughout all the awards, the all-conference team, the newcomer team, not a single Tiger featured on that list.
Yeah, it's jarring just when you consider the way that they rolled through those awards, those honors last year, but I'm not surprised.
No.
I mean, who's been a true standout player for this team this year? And I go back to, I'm thinking about an interview I saw, former Memphis assistant, headed to the NCAA tournament. Congratulations, Nolan Smith in Tennessee State. But he was talking about in an interview recently how he told his team, if you want those individual honors, we have to win collectively. And they haven't won enough. And they haven't had, even if you don't win, but you've got one player that has a really incredible season, then maybe you rack up an award. But, yeah, they haven't won enough. They haven't had one real standout player. So, yeah, it's quite the turn from this time 365 days ago, but I'm not shocked.
Who would be team MVP, Matt?
That's an interesting question. I would probably say Doug McDaniel.
Yeah, me too.
Big picture, I think he's been your most reliable leader and offensive engine. Now,
James played 31. He was out there 31 times.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that's always been consistent. Doug's had his fair share of awesome games, and Doug's had his share of kind of clunkers in there as well. But all in all, I think that when you went into every game this year, and obviously there are a lot of games where you didn't feel confident that they were going to win, especially over the last month before Sunday, but I think that if you pinned your hopes on one player on that team night to night, it was probably him. And he did have, it must be said, even some of the losses, there were a lot of moments and stretches in there late in the second half of games where he kind of tried to will the team back and put the Tigers on his back and carry them to victory. And a lot of times came up short because obviously it's a team sport. But yes, all that said, I would go Doug as team MVP.
Yeah. I've heard some other people say this, and I just think it's hilarious the way that the bracket fell out for the Tigers, because I would not be surprised when you talk about night to night. I wouldn't be surprised if Memphis loses the first game tomorrow night against Tulane. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the semifinals against South Florida, because you've got Tulane in the first game, you've got Charlotte, a team you've only played once this year, but you beat them by 23 at home when you played them. Then you've got UAB, a team that you've beaten once this season, also a team that has shown they can't really win in Birmingham until then you ultimately get to the semifinals. It feels like, in terms of how the bracket could have gone, it feels like a decently okay bracket that the Tigers have in front of them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to be fair, too, there's probably not, I don't really know many ways the bracket could have broken where you would have said it's an incredibly daunting first couple of rounds. But, yeah, obviously Tulane is beatable. Memphis split the season series then. It was close each game. Each team won on the road, so we'll see how that shakes out on Wednesday night, tomorrow night. And you wonder if Memphis learned anything in the win on Sunday that'll maybe carry over to that game. And then Charlotte was probably one of their, crazy. It was their last win for a month until Sunday, but that was one of their more dominant performances in conference play this year. And then, UAB, we'll see if UAB's inability to win at home carries over to the conference tournament or not. But yeah, I think that those are three very beatable teams. Now, when you get to the semifinals against the Bulls, that's a little different story. And not to say that Memphis can't beat them, but I think that we saw even last Thursday at home, Memphis played pretty well for the most part. It still wasn't enough to beat USF. I think USF is in a little kind of tier of their own. That's not to say that they're guaranteed to win the conference tournament or anything like that, but I do think they're a little different beast compared to the three teams that Memphis would have to get before them. But yeah, we've talked about it all year. This conference is really wide open. Night to night, you don't know what you're going to get. This team is certainly proof of that. So yeah, it would not shock me, like you said. We could be going home, we could be turning around Thursday morning, or we could be there until Saturday or Sunday. It wouldn't shock me either way.
Matt, let's talk a couple of hypotheticals, and I know sometimes hypotheticals can get a little extreme. I'm going to try to be aware of that. Tigers' early exit, either Wednesday or Thursday. Do you get back to Memphis, and do you think it will come as a release from the university, from Ed Scott? Penny Hardaway is our coach. We look forward to going into a 9th year. We've met, we've consulted. He knows what he's got to do, blah, blah, blah. Or do you think it goes through the weekend and there's a formal announcement? Ed Scott has Q&A and has a legit presser, and he's keeping Penny, or to the most doomsday scenario presser, and Penny Hardaway's been relieved of his duties?
I don't know how they'll handle it from a PR side. I will say, to me, nothing this week other than the miracle they win this tournament and punch their ticket to the Big Dance. I don't think anything that happens this week really changes the way things look for next year. I think Petty will be back. I think Petty's seat will be relatively hot going into next season. I think the only thing that would have really changed over the last couple of days and going into this tournament is if they didn't make the conference tournament. I still think Petty would have been back, but the seat would have just been that much hotter. And it's still going to be pretty warm going into next year, and I don't think that changes whether they get knocked out on Saturday or whether they get knocked out tomorrow. I don't think that whatever happens this week, save for winning the whole thing or maybe getting to the championship game and it's really competitive, and even that, I don't know. I don't think that anything that happens in a small sample this week overshadows or changes the narrative on this season as a whole that we've seen for 30-plus games now, which is, for the most part, it's been incredibly underwhelming. It is not up to the standard of this program, and it needs to get back to the way things were last year or something close to it, or a change will happen next season.
We were talking about South Florida a second ago, and I know you went to school at South Florida. I'm sure have a lot of friends that are still down around South Florida. They're still big South Florida fans. What is the feeling around Brian Hodgson right now? Is it kind of just is the expectation that he's probably going to leave at the end of the season? Is it that, hey, maybe he's back for another season? I know he's a name out there you see with kind of these who could be that big hire in the offseason. His name's right there for the job he's done this year at USF and before at Arkansas State.
Yeah, I think that we all know we're on borrowed time to an extent, which is the case with most non-power conference coaches. I think a job that obviously scares most of the fan base that he might leave for would be Syracuse. But I will say, USF, I mean, I don't think that with the way that they've built things up over there and the success that they've had recently with him and previously with AAR, I don't know that he's going to leave for just any power conference job. Yeah. Tell you, man, it's nice living down there. Tampa's a great place to live. The weather's great. They've done a great job building up the athletic department. It's a very fertile recruiting state and area. So I don't know he's going to leave for any job. Syracuse would worry me, and obviously I think at some point, if he keeps winning there, he's going to be in the mix for some pretty big-time jobs. But I think that most of us are hoping for at least one more season after this. And if he leaves after next year, then that's just the way that the game goes. Yeah, I think it's cool, and obviously it's probably it's a better non-conference game than a lot of the other potential options out there. So, yeah, I mean, give Petty this. Even after this season, he is still not going to duck away from a very difficult non-conference schedule. I don't really think that you can. You gotta schedule tough and try to give yourself some leeway on the resume, for your bracket, assuming things don't go completely off the rails like they did this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
former conference brethren in the old great Midwest, Dayton and the Tigers.
That's right.
They learn something new every day, Stats. Did not know that until you mentioned it to me, but I will file that away in the memory bank.
That's right. Yeah, you can use it next year when they're playing each other. But we'll see what happens this week in the conference tournament. Matt, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk about it whatever happens next week.
Yep, sounds good, fellas. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt.
Be safe. Thank you.
Matt Infield joining us like he does every single week to talk Tigers, and we'll see what happens this week with the American Conference, and could be our final visit last week with Matt Infield if it is the end of the Tiger season.
Winding down. Yeah,
I mean, it looks likely, but we'll see what they can do in the conference tournament, again, starting tomorrow night, 6 o'clock against Tulane on ESPN News. But we need to get to a break. When we return, we're going to talk some Grizzlies. They were in action last night. It was a loss against the Brooklyn Nets. They're back in action, though, tonight, a back-to-back on the road against the 76ers. We'll talk about it next on Sportstime.
Not only can you listen to your favorite shows on Sports 56, you can also watch video of the shows live on Twitter and YouTube. Watch and listen every day at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
Hi, I'm Ryan Saharovich, a proud partner with NST Injury Attorneys. For over 35 years, we've been fighting for Memphis families after serious accidents when insurance companies are trying to pay as little as possible. We don't back down. NST is the way to go.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses, or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code READY to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code READY to borrow up to $10,000. Use code READY to borrow up to $10,000.
Logan Fury did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he bought a mini treadmill. Is walking on it during video conference calls more distracting than he thought? Yes. And is that because he overestimated his foot-eye coordination? Definitely. But it's Logan's savings, and if he wants to burn calories and any chance at a promotion, we say, good for you, Logan. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
It's a new year, and it's the first new sale at Family Leisure. It's the floor model sale happening now. Family Leisure has deep, like diving deep discounts on over 100 display models and in-stock hot tubs, swim spas, even those cold plunges. How deep are these discounts? I'm not allowed to say. So if you've been putting off getting a new spa, then right now is the best time to buy. Here's one price I can let loose. You can get a spa as low as $99 a month. Plus, you can get over $1,000 in upgrades with every spa purchased. One other special deal, you can get an $8,000 spa for only $159 a month. And you know what? Family Leisure is going to throw in some LED lights and waterfalls on most models. Room's got to be made, and so do the deals at Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Well, the Grizzlies, they were in action last night. They're back in action tonight. Last night, it was a 126-115 loss against the Brooklyn Nets. Tonight, they'll go up against the 76ers. 76ers right now at home, a 3.5-point favorite. Total 228.5. Some guys out for the 76ers, including Tyrese Maxey out, Joel Embiid out, and VJ Edgecombe, a game-time decision for tonight's game. So it looks like 76ers will be without a lot of their main guys. That's why that spread is so low for a Grizzlies team that is not doing much winning on the road. So it makes a lot more sense when you see it that way.
We need to lose. Go Sixers.
Yeah, no, it's kind of the mindset we're in right now of tank, lose, and this.
And sign the lease. That's our thing.
That's right. Yes.
Tank, lose, and sign the lease.
Sign the lease. I like it. It's got a little bit of a jingle there, but this one tonight, might be a little more difficult with a lot of those injuries, but this one doesn't feel as difficult as last night's against Brooklyn.
Yeah, I had to go to extra measures and helped out by just the starting front line for the Grizzlies, as Brevin Knight so capably and ably noted during the broadcast and in the postgame with Rob and Pete. It was just massive mismatch on the front court, the bigs.
I mean, they just don't have enough guys out there. They don't have enough size out there, and
size matters.
It does, and that's going to be something that
94-foot goal, court, and 10-foot goal. 15-foot free throw, size matters.
Yeah, and I mean, that's going to be something that's
you have 7-footers and the other one don't.
That's
it's
right.
Tough.
No, it is, and you look at the front line that Brooklyn had last night. I mean, you've got Noah Clowney, who is kind of a smaller big but very physical at 6'10". You've got Nick Claxton. You've got Danny Wolf. I mean, you've got some big guys out there that they started. Even their guards that they started last night are bigger guards. And you got Nolan Traore, who's kind of a longer guard, and so they have a lot of size. And you even got Day'Ron Sharpe, some other big guys coming off the bench. So that was in terms of size, and especially with all the guys that the Grizzlies were missing last night, it made it a little difficult. But this is a Nets team that's really struggling, but they've got some really nice young pieces. You don't want to see those guys start building losing habits, and I know Danny Wolf had a press conference a couple weeks ago kind of talking about that exact thing. But, this is a team that we were all questioning the decisions they made in the offseason. I still kind of question them, but it feels like they do have some pieces that they can build around.
Back to reality for the Nets tonight.
Yeah.
Detroit Pistons roll into town.
Yeah, it's interesting how it plays out, because Memphis will see Detroit later in the week. So Memphis sees Brooklyn, and then they'll see Detroit. Detroit sees Memphis, and then they see Brooklyn tonight. So it's interesting how those three teams seeing each other this week. It's going to be a lot difficult, and you can see it with the point spread with Detroit a 15.5 point favorite tonight. It's gonna, glad they got the win last night. Let them get a win and try to build off of that, because I think it's going to be all Detroit tonight for them. But we'll see what it looks like for the Grizzlies tonight against the 76ers, and I'll be curious to see how many of these guys. Really, it's mainly just, does VJ Edgecombe play? We know the type of year he's putting together during his rookie campaign. If he's able to go out there tonight for the 76ers, that'd be fun to watch. Obviously, a guy that is could be a really big-time player in the league moving forward. So we'll see what it looks like tonight, 6 o'clock, and kind of an earlier start time tonight than what we're usually used to.
Brian, how do we, in any ballpark, fairly gauge Tomas Isolo's season, his coaching abilities?
I think it's very hard to do this year. I mean,
when you send a team out there with wings and guards,
you literally do not give him a center at all. I mean, it's just.
And I don't know that next year will be fair, because it will be a lot of new.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to get a long runway before he's finally really held to. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah. Well, I think, next year, barring any, crazy injuries, you'll have a lot of your kind of core pieces that you want to start moving forward with. And I think that's kind of where you can start getting a gauge of what does this look like and what does the future look like, and can get a much better idea of kind of what he is doing. We saw it earlier this season with what he wants to do, at least, and kind of the way he wants to coach, the way he wants to game plan. It was very different than what we were used to seeing with Taylor Jenkins. And I know, it felt like after every game, early this season, late last season when he was in charge, people not very happy with how it looked and kind of the substitution patterns he was making. And so I think you'll be able to see more of that next year and kind of decipher it a little bit more next year. And then kind of going forward, he'll kind of be that rebuild coach that you're really kind of handing the keys over to, hey, make this team a lot better and try to start building a team that can compete in the West. It's a tough task to ask, but I do think he is a brilliant basketball mind. It's just, can that translate? Can that European coaching style that he wants to do, can that translate to the NBA today? And it's going to be a big question. But I do think having a lot of young guys that are just starting to get into the NBA that really don't know anything else in terms of NBA play style, I think that could benefit him and those guys really buying into what he wants to do.
Back to one note from college basketball. You mentioned that the Big 12, Arizona State moved on today. Bobby Hurley's out. 11th year.
Yeah.
He got a fair shot, didn't he?
He did, and he's one of those coaches where for the last, it's been a while. We're talking 5 or 6 years we've been talking about, okay, is this the last year for him at Arizona State? And he's just found ways to win big games and find his way in the tournament and really have that kind of marquee win to keep his job. And just didn't happen this year, and it really felt like kind of what I hear a lot of people talking about with a lot of different coaches, and you're hearing it here with Penny Hardaway, but you're hearing it at a lot of different places of, we're going to bring you back next year, but next year, these are kind of the expectations that we have. You have to meet those. And that sounds like, based on everything I've heard, that's what happened with Bobby Hurley going into this year's. We're going to give you one more year. You have got to make the NCAA tournament. You've got to do something. If that doesn't happen, it is already set in stone. Everybody knows you're out. And obviously, unless they go on a big run here, that's not going to happen. But decisions already been made of he is not going to return next year. And so we'll see, obviously, what kind of that job. I don't really know what that Arizona State job
tried it all.
Will they have, and I just don't know.
I'd have bet my life Herb Sendek would have worked out.
Yeah,
he didn't. I thought Rob Evans would when he left Ole Miss. There are some rumors out there, just scuttlebutt rumors of Chris Beard to Arizona State. I'd be surprised if that happened. One that I don't think will happen, we'll talk in about 5 minutes with Brent Beard about it. Todd Golden leaving Florida if Bill Self retired. Florida would keep him.
Yeah, I think so.
Even with the prestige of the KU job and Florida being a football school, they would keep him.
Yeah, I think so. I think what he has built there and what they're able to do for him would be really big. So, yeah, I don't know what that Arizona State job looks like and kind of what the type of coaches they'd be able to go out there and bring in. A really tough job and a really tough conference. So that will definitely be a big one to kind of keep an eye on throughout the offseason. Right now, Big 12 tournament, Cincinnati up on Utah 63-56. SMU up 1 right now over Syracuse in the ACC. But let's go ahead and wrap up this first hour. When we return, we're talking some college football and college basketball. Brent Beard from First Coast News down in Jacksonville. He joins us next.
You know, sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Witten Road.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like rugs. People say a rug would really bring the room together. And sure, you don't know what that means, but it sounds important. Suddenly you're using words like jute and sisal, then you see the price and lose it, because how can the thing you walk and spill on cost so much? So you devote your life to taking down Big Rug. But then you remember that switching your home and auto to Progressive could save you hundreds. So, looks like Big Rug is safe. For now. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered. Every drive is powerful and breathtaking. The 2025 Range Rover Sport is the epitome of sporting luxury. Test drive one at Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. I wanted to take a minute and discuss advertising with you. There are so many websites that list the best service provider in your area. Even the BBB has an accredited list. You know the one thing they all have in common? A company like mine has to pay to get on that list. So that begs the question, can those lists be trusted? You know what can be trusted? History. We've been around for almost 30 years providing customers with the best service and the best products that we possibly can. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call. We'll come talk to you and let you decide for yourself whether or not we know what we're talking about. Five-Ash Roof Services. Best products, best warranties, and in many cases, the best price. We're fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
This traffic report brought to you by City Center Liquor, just off Highway 70 in Lakeland. Local, friendly, and always fully stocked. For a 5% discount, tell them Sports 56 sent you.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. As traffic gets a little bit heavier right on schedule, actually. Trying to get south of Memphis. Watching it build pretty good down through DeSoto County there on 55 southbound. Working your way down through South Haven. Just a little bit of radar, not only in that area earlier, but especially over in parts of West Memphis this afternoon on I-40 as you head out towards Forest City. Hey, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital is leading the way the world understands, treats, and defeats childhood cancer. Help these kids out if you can. Log on to stjude.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
When you hear the sound coming, hear the drums.
Welcome back in Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our second hour on this Tuesday afternoon. We got to talk some college football and a little college basketball, and we do it at this time every single Tuesday afternoon with Brent Beard.
College football talk every Tuesday with Brent Beard, Heisman voter, and on Twitter X at Brent Beard. SEC, ACC, AAC. We talk it all with Brent. Here's Brent Beard with Bryant and Brett.
Brent Beard joins us now to talk some college football and college basketball. He's from First Coast News down in Jacksonville. Brent, thanks so much for joining us. Did we get anything worked out up in D.C. this week? Everybody was up there at the White House, and I don't know.
Handshaking.
I didn't bank on anything getting done up there.
You'll excuse me, but I just saw Ohio State D coordinator Matt Patricia making $3.75 million, the highest paid assistant in the country, making what used to be head coach money. So it took me aback a little bit. Look, I know that you only get so much out of first meetings, meaning probably a lot of that was photo op is what it amounted to. But I will say this, regardless of what people's feelings are against Trump, I still wonder if they may get more done than they think they are. And it won't happen overnight, but I think that's possible. I really used to be against the government getting involved with this, and but I'm at the point where eventually they may have to do something just to, I'm not going to say save college football from itself necessarily, because the games still or on the field are saving us, but we've got to, I get it, we've got to be able to do something to bring some of this stuff together, whether it's NIL or collective bargaining or whatever we want to call it. So I'm not saying I'm for it, I'm just saying I'm more open to it than I was before.
Brent, Friday afternoon stunned me to the core. I saw absolutely, from a lot of people there, including the President of the United States, a complete lack of mastery of any of the issues. He didn't know any of the details. It was it was just bluster and executive order, and I can wave a magic wand and make things happen, and that's not how it's going to work. And then almost a longing for yesteryear of the proverbial, let's try to put the toothpaste back in a tube, and it's always been impossible, and kind of longing for 3 meals and books and tuition and wearing your letter jacket, all things that mattered to me at one time, and that was all great, but what the coaches weren't making $10 million a year, and the rights fees weren't what they were, and to be lectured to by Urban Meyer was just really rich. Brent, I've said for a long time, I think more so than you, I've always said that I was his last remaining friend in the South. Well, he now has none.
Yeah, I get that.
That was just idiotic. What he's hoping for, Urban. If you checked your bank account, you got fabulously wealthy, legitimately. You did a really great job. You won 3 national championships, 2 for the Gators, 1 more than Steve Spurrier, 1 at Ohio State, and then today, Tommy Tuberville, of all people, wanted to weigh in and lecture me on what the coaches are making.
I think where we are with this is at some point you can't just go back and wish it was the way it was. But even the people who were saying that when we were back years ago, they were probably also saying, "Boy, all this needs to change here." We're just not getting this done. Look, I would like to see some changes, but I don't necessarily think we have to go back to do it. I mean, well, aren't we? I mean, my stars, aren't we smart enough to where we could figure this out?
Well,
where
we
are. We could come up with some compromise somewhere.
But was that panel on Friday afternoon in the East Room? It was shocking. Brent, both of us lived at a time. Thank goodness those days are long gone. But we lived at a time, late 60s, early 70s. I would hear fans. I would hear people into the 70s. I wish we could go back to everybody was kicking off at 1 o'clock and we all had 30,000 seat stadiums and it was all white players. We weren't going to do that, and we're not going to do that now, and we shouldn't have then, and we're not now. These players were never abused, but they did they did a lot of work and did not get any of the profits when there were obscene profits to be made.
Yeah, it really was, and we really didn't know for a while how much they were making until all that came out, and then we've got players now, and now do we need a better handle of what everybody's making? Probably to some degree, because we've just got quarterbacks make more than anybody else, and the defensive linemen probably do too. But the reality of it is, I mean, I've got to believe. I don't know if we're unselfish enough to get it done. As Brent said, we're certainly smart enough to get this done. And obviously even the NFL, that's supposed to be the gold standard. It's taken them decades to get to where they are now. And they're not perfect, but they have opened the door to say, if you guys want our help, we're here to help you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just some of that came out of Friday. That was I thought it was largely a waste of time. I got into it pretty good with a friend of mine that was kind of making that case of wanting to go back to yesteryear, and I used that late 60s, 70s example with him, and it flew all over him. I said, I'm not accusing you of it, but I heard this same silly talk.
Yeah. Well, we're not going back to what it used to be. Those days are certainly over, but I still believe that we could. And again, are there bad things with the NFL? Yes, but the reality is the NFL has gone through a lot of years and a lot of turmoil to get where they are. Is it perfect? No, but the reality is they've got some stringent guidelines that have helped them tremendously, and that there really is nothing if the college game emulated some of that.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you something else that I got out of Friday, and I recorded it and watched every bit of it. I got this. It sounded, the tenor and tone to me sounded like, well, from Urban Meyer, from Coach Saban, from the president, from Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, spending a Friday afternoon at a college sports symposium. Okay, I guess there's not a lot going on in D.C. But anyway, I heard from them that if Florida and Ohio State and Alabama and Notre Dame and Texas are taken care of, the rest of y'all can figure it out on your own.
Well, I don't think anybody's taken care of right now overall. But the other thing about that situation was, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there were any women or men who actually play the sport that were involved with that. And I mean, look, at some point, don't you have to get them on the committee or in the room to suggest some things maybe that these other coaches and celebrities haven't thought of?
Yeah, you'd think so. It would have been nice, and I think there were plenty of people, both current and past, even in just the last couple of years, past players that would have been nice to have there to kind of give their perspective.
Charlie Ward was there.
Of course.
Last played college football 32 years ago.
Right, yeah. That's the former players we need in there.
Yeah.
Last played college basketball 31 years ago.
Yeah. No, We need a little newer than that, I think. But they seemed fine with what they had. Obviously, last week the news. We talked with you on Tuesday. I believe it was last Wednesday. The news came out of the passing of Lou Holtz. Your thoughts on that sad news from last week?
Well, it was. I mean, I give Holtz a lot of credit for what he's done in his life. I mean, I understand he could be a bear if you were one of his assistants. But the reality is he came off, to do as well as he did with so many schools that he went to, and then just be this. You could virtually use the word beloved figure on ESPN, what he did with Game Day with Reese and Mark May, remembering that, the Lord knows what he made in speaking engagements along with that too. So I mean, Holtz was he was just one of a kind. I remember going to the covering the Alabama-Texas game in 2009 and just was walking in the stadium and actually ran into Holtz and stood there for a few minutes. Look, Holtz was the celebrity. There's no question about it. But he stood there and spent a little time and talked and shared a few things, and I appreciated that in him. Not everybody willing to do that. So he would be missed, but he had an amazing life, treated his family well, and I know the guy wasn't perfect. I wouldn't want to coach for him probably in some manner, but overall he would be very missed, and he was very good for the game in a lot of ways.
Brent, well said, and I agree. And my next comments are by no means meant to disrespect or speak with anything ugly tone toward him. But with his passing, I heard a lot of people talk about where he ranks. Now, I did a quick list. I'm not going way back to the beginning of college football and Walter Camp or Phil Yost or even Newt Rockne or even Frank Lay. But this was said about Coach Holtz. Except for William and Mary, there's not a single place that he coached at that he was the greatest coach ever there, because at Arkansas it's still Frank Broyles.
Sure.
At Minnesota, the guy in the early 60s that won national championships, and I can't remember his name, but at Notre Dame you got Rockne, Lay, Parsegian.
Yeah.
That would be, and at South Carolina, Steve Spurrier did a better job at South Carolina than Lou Holtz did. So I started with my list. I think we all can. Y'all tell me where I'm wrong. I think we all can agree Saban Bryant won two since about 19 over the last 50 years.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Paterno Bowden in some shape, form, fashion, 3-4.
Yep.
All right, then maybe not to the number, but then I got Barry Switzer, Tom Osborne. Would do you think so far of those six names? Would y'all say, agree or disagree, they were better than Holtz as a coach?
Well, I think you can make that argument.
All right, now I think it gets into the weeds. Again, Urban Meyer, 3 national championships. I've got Urban Meyer, Pete Carroll, Kirby Smart, Dabo as better.
I think the further you get on the list, the closer it gets with that. But you can certainly make the argument. I know we only won one, but to me, the thing that you mentioned Spurrier a minute ago, the thing that I will always remember for Spurrier is he brought his offense in to a league that was, I'm not going to say it was 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but it was a run-dominated league, and he made the league change. He was a change agent, and I think those guys are kind of the ones I'm thinking about. But no, it's hard for me to disagree with your list so far.
Spurrier or Holtz?
I would say Spurrier just because of is what I said a few minutes ago. I
that's
think
11
Spurrier,
if my list is right.
Well, frankly, Brett, I think Spurrier, when the time he came along and what he did actually changed the way the league thought.
And it wasn't for long, but just what he did as a college coach at Oklahoma State, but most notably at Miami, Jimmy Johnson was a great college coach.
He was, truly was. Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. And what I don't have any trouble with that at all. And look, I'm not saying Snellenberg was a great coach, but if some things went another way, he may have been, but he certainly made his presence in the football world.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking to Brent Beard, he joins us every Tuesday from First Coast News down in Jacksonville. A lot of conference tournaments getting started, some already concluding. The SEC gets started tomorrow. Who ultimately wins the SEC tournament?
Well, I mean, if the Gators are focused and they're excited about being there, I think they will. I mean, my Stars, the thing about Florida right now, guys, is when you read what they're doing, I mean, at some point, I mean, everything you read is almost, it's not only good, it's just downright historic. With some of this stuff that is going on. I mean, they won 11 in a row. Frankly, I mean, the games aren't even close. We know what the front line's doing. The back line and the guards are getting better as we go along. I think the tournament will be fun. That will be interesting to see. But right now, I mean, what Golden has done in the last 2 years there is just simply amazing.
It is, and with the rumors of possibly an opening at Kansas with a retirement of Bill Self, and if Kentucky lost their mind, firing Mark Pope. I said earlier, I want your opinion on it. You're closer to it, and you know it better than anyone. I don't think Florida loses Todd Golden to anybody. Maybe the pros like Billy Donovan, but not to another college job.
I would agree with that. I could see him going to the NBA just for the challenge of it to see if he could do it. But at this point, I mean, my Stars, if they win it again, they will be, the names you mentioned. I mean, Florida's been as good as just about anybody has at this point. I mean, the
2 different back-to-backs. That's special league now.
It is. I mean, with a national championship, SEC title.
But you got to do it first.
You do, SEC
That's the hard part.
It is. There's no doubt about it. But
and it's what Coach Saban did. It just makes me. I mean, and on Friday when he had to correct the President of the United States, you won. you won 6 or 5, and he said no 6.
Yeah, he did. But look, I mean, Golden is. I'm not going to say he came from nowhere, but how many people knew who he was before they hired him? And I mean, they are just what Coach Bryant said years ago. What I may mess this up, but he could take yours and beat his type thing. I think that's possible. But and look, Golden, some people don't like his attitude, but Golden's flashy. He loves to rub in people's face a little bit. But look, when you've got this kind of team, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a number on Cal a couple Saturdays ago.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, no, he absolutely did. Over in the
Cal has slaughtered people himself.
That's true.
In his coaching life.
He's done plenty of that. Over in the ACC, Duke, it was reported earlier today, John Shire telling reporters that Caleb Foster is going to be out for the foreseeable future. Patrick Gongba will be out for the ACC tournament with the hope of him returning to the NCAA tournament. What does that mean for Duke in the conference tournament, and what would that mean if they are without both those guys in the NCAA tournament?
Well, I think eventually in the NCAA tournament, would they catch up with them? I mean, is there depth enough to get them by? That's a good question, and I know this sounds silly, but it's true. I mean, a lot of this depends on the draw and where they're, where they want to go. I mean, they can, can they still get in the Final Four? Very possibly with who they've got. But again, back to Florida. Florida's crept up there, and they now, one thing I learned from Brent years ago is what happens to you in the NCAA tournament. Like the week before, can determine where you're going, and that may be what the situation is to do.
Yeah.
It takes so much luck. I mean,
it really does.
Yesterday was the 26th anniversary of Kenyon Martin being injured at the Pyramid. Brian, that was on a Thursday. I'd been there for the Wednesday games, left that Thursday morning for the SEC games, and that news, because Cincinnati's on its way to winning Huggins' only title that year, and it takes so many breaks. It takes bracketing breaks, now pod breaks, and then in game, just that one or two play or misplay, it can cost you.
Yeah.
I'm curious how well that Arkansas does. We mentioned Cal a few minutes ago.
I think they're dangerous.
I agree with you. I think they are too. I don't have any. I don't have any doubt about that. I think a lot of people would not want to play them right now to see as far as how well that they are playing. But I think I'm looking forward to the NCAA tournament. I think that's going to be fun. To be able to see it, and again for teams like Tampa, for Florida, very well going to Tampa, which, as you guys know, is a Gator town. They will, for them playing in Tampa will be a home crowd.
Yeah.
Gator through and through, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, and particularly, and recently, and guys, as you know, we've got national championship games in football coming up in Tampa and obviously in Miami. So
Gators be back by then. They better be.
Yeah, really. That would be an opportune time to get it together, wouldn't it?
One time we played in Gainesville and stayed in Ocala, and we went out the night before. Really nice place, and of course, all of us, we all had on Ole Miss gear, and we walked in that place, and they talked to us like dogs.
Yeah.
Ocala is really Gator.
Oh yeah. Look, but people would say, well, Miami and Florida State, they've captured the state. No, that's not true by any stretch of imagination. The big dog in the state is still Florida, even during the years when they're down.
No, it absolutely is. It's going to be a fun week this week as we get closer and closer to Selection Sunday.
Right.
And Brent, next week when we talk with you, we'll have a bracket in our hands and talk about some of these first round matchups.
Well, and a lot of this is going to be who's motivated to play. I really hope we don't get to where we are with the SEC football championship game.
Great.
That teams would rather be practicing and doing something else instead of being there. But I think this tournament, once you start play, but people get excited about it and they want to win it.
Yeah, hopefully it is a lot of fun. Brent, as always, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again next Tuesday.
Good. Always enjoy it, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Brent.
Thank you, Brent.
Brent Beard joining us every single Tuesday, talking a lot of college football and some college basketball, and it will be interesting to see what that care factor looks like, especially with those top 4 seeds in the SEC.
Brian, that night in Ocala, we had big party of us and sponsors, big trip. It was in 2015. It beat Bama. I don't think it lost to the Tigers yet in 2015. Maybe have. Anyway, highly ranked, playing in Gainesville, and that was the night I've told you the story. We our wait staff, nice young man. Oh, y'all are sports guys, huh? Yeah. And he goes, I got one that's never been touched. I'll bet y'all's tab. And Harry Harrison goes, you don't want to do this. Don't do this. And David Kellum, no, don't. Name all of NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and hockey. The big 4.
Yeah.
Teams that don't end in an S-ending nickname.
Okay.
And well, immediately, White Sox, Red Sox from baseball. That's easy. None from the NFL. And then when I went Heat, Jazz, Magic, Thunder from the NBA, the color washed out of his face. He was like, nobody's ever even come close to all the NBA ones. Oh, my
gosh.
And then I went, Lightning, Wild, Avalanche, and I think now you'd have Mammoth and
Kraken.
And Kraken.
Yeah.
But knocked them all out.
Oh, my gosh.
And the tab ended up, it was like 16 of us. It was probably $3,000.
Wow.
And the manager comes out.
Oh, geez.
He's really overextended. Said, we're not going to make him pay, but let him think that all the way through.
Yeah.
2 or 3 hour dinner, and that kid by then he's like, man, I was going to get fired if I had. We've been on the hook for that.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. Yeah.
He said, nobody's ever touched all the NBA ones.
Hey.
He said, when you rattled off Heat, Jazz, Magic, Thunder, I knew I was in trouble.
Oh, man. Well, they tried to warn him, and he wouldn't listen. He wouldn't listen at all. That's great. That is a great story. But always have fun talking with Brent, and it'll be fun next week talking NCAA tournament with him. But we're going to have some fun when we return from this break, because we're going to go through, rank our top 10 head coaches, active college basketball coaches, in order that have never won a national championship. I think the top couple are pretty easy, but then I'll be curious where each of us go through the rest of the top 10. But don't go anywhere. We do that next on Sports Time.
You have opinions?
I think it's over.
Of course you do.
I don't think it's that simple.
Everyone does.
I got all the answers.
Hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals, and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
It's takeover time, and you'll know when. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors, and the takeover time I mentioned is when your house has been on the market for so long and you want somebody to come in, take over, properly market it, and get it sold. People often say when you want the job done, call Sheldon, because I have a highly successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and when. It involves preparation before you go on the market, along with proper presentation and accurate pricing based on our ever-changing market and rates, and being made aware of what's going on around you so you can make intelligent decisions, not merely guessing. Call me at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com and let me take your listing over and get it sold. I may be lousy at golf, but I sure do sell some homes. Call me, Sheldon Rosengarten, 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com.
Air. We breathe it naturally. Simple, right? Not so fast. The air you breathe could be hazardous to your health. Don't guess. Be sure with a phone call to the Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South. Call the Memphis Mold Inspector to check the air quality inside your home and office. Protect babies, pets, new homes, old homes, employees, friends, loved ones, and you. Just call 901-292-7788 for clean air and peace of mind. 901-292-7788 for the Memphis Mold Inspector.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
This traffic report is brought to you by Millington Weight Loss. For more information, call 901-436-0272.
Sports 56 Traffic.
Good afternoon. It's cranking it pretty good now on all the major outbound routes. What we're seeing right now is a steady flow of traffic on Sam Cooper. Certain sections already slow as you come past Perkins, trying to get back on the interstate there, coming off Sam Cooper. It's heavy now over here on 240 east and westbound up by Walnut Grove and trying to get past Poplar. Hey, the low-cost drive-through vaccine clinic is back at the Humane Society of Memphis, Shelby County. It's coming up on Saturday, March 21st. All the details on their website at memphisHumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and we've got to talk some more college basketball. We're going to have some fun as we get closer to March Madness, the NCAA tournament right around the corner with Selection Sunday, just now a couple days away. We all put together our top 10 in order of best active current college basketball coaches that have never won a national championship.
Kind of the best player to never win a major, kind of the Scott Hope, Peter Jacobson, Jay Haas, Colin Montgomery list. All great players.
Oh, yeah.
they never won a major. And current, because Lifetime, and it was sad to see him, who I just loved, and I think it tormented him. Eddie Sutton, just never could win it all. John Chaney, Bob Huggins, just talked about him. And it's hard to get off this list because last year we weren't counting Todd Golden on this list. We weren't counting Danny Hurley on this list just a few years ago before he won 2. I don't think we were counting Scott Drew on this list or Tony Bennett when they got theirs respectively at Baylor and UVA. The last big one to really come off, it was big for Jim Boeheim to come off when Syracuse finally got it because he was on that. Right, there was a time we would do this list that Roy Williams was on it.
Sure. Yeah.
And he got good enough of it.
Of course, yeah. He was nowhere near this list when it was all
Gary
said and done.
Williams was on this list before Maryland got it in 2002.
Yeah. So
fire away, Brian. You first.
All right. I guess I will start first. I'll go from 10 to 1. I've got an OLI on here. Kevin Young over at BYU. Only been there a couple years, but I think just a really, really good basketball coach. Obviously, with his previous ties to NBA and development, I go.
Is that number 1 for you?
OLI. I'm going to go from 10 to 1. I'm going to go from bottom to the top. I try to build some suspense here. So I have him as my OLI right outside. I had him on my list and then had to force him out. So I just wanted to at least mention him. Number 10, I've got Dusty May at Michigan, obviously getting very close with FAU and now what he's got going up at Michigan. Number 9, Fred Hoiberg up at Nebraska. Just what he has done at Nebraska year in, year out. Just a super competitive team. And obviously what they are doing this season with starting the season undefeated, going all that distance. 8, Matt Painter, kind of another one of those guys that has gotten really deep, has gotten close to winning it, but has not been able to do it. Number 7, Tommy Lloyd at Arizona, another kind of newer head coach, but has had some really good teams, just hasn't been able to get it done. Number 6, John Shire from Duke, obviously a guy that is only is very new to the scene as a head coach, but
the first one that I have on my list is John Shire.
All right, I like that. I'm glad you have him because sometimes I think you would you might not put him on that top 10, but I have him.
Well, I'm not a Duke lover.
Well, that's true. I have him at number 6. Number 5, T.J. Otzelberger from Iowa State. The job he has done there. I mean, let's not forget what he took over at Iowa State, and he has turned them into a powerhouse. Number 4, and if it wasn't for the 3 names in front of him, I probably would put him higher. Ben McCullum at Iowa. I think one of the best head coaches in college basketball, has won, I think, 4 national championships at the Division II level, and obviously hitting the ground running in Division I now at Iowa. Number 3, Rick Barnes. Number 2, Kelvin Sampson. And number 1, Mark Few.
So you give me your 1, 2, 3 again.
Few, Sampson, Barnes.
All right, I've got Sampson, Few. Landon, fire away with your list. Any order you want to go in?
Yeah, I'll do the same. I'll go 10-1. I went with Brad Underwood at number 10. What he's doing with Illinois this year.
I've got him at 4.
Yeah, good Illinois team. So had to include him on my list. I went with Danny Altman, just of what he's been able to do with Oregon being a contender.
Oregon, Danny Altman. I've got him as 9.
Yeah, that's exactly where I've got him. I went just because I'm such a huge fan of what this Michigan team is doing this year. Dusty May, I've got him at number 8. TJ Otzelberger with Iowa State and the great season that they're having this year. My number 6 went with Matt Painter. 5, Rick Barnes. 4, as we've mentioned, John Shire. 3, Mark Few. I went 2, Tommy Lloyd, because I feel like last year I mentioned Tommy Lloyd and he was doing really well. This year he's proven that he's doing it again with this Arizona team. And then number 1, Kelvin Sampson.
Yeah, unanimous, or not unanimous, 2 out of 3 of us with Kelvin Sampson. He almost got off it last year, and this is his chance this year. I love y'all's list. I do. I'm not taking any exception. I think a lot of your guys, y'all are grading a little harshly. I don't think they've been around long enough to be on. I don't think they have enough scar. I mean, does Dusty May and Fred Horberg and Otzelberger have enough scar tissue yet?
Well, I guess I probably, in that sense, I think I did mine different than probably how you did mine. I went the best coaches that don't have a national championship right now. It's kind of how I went with my
that was the mission statement,
top 10. Oh, that's how I read it.
The only way I cut it down was active, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yes, just have to be.
So
an
y'all
active
followed
coach.
the instructions much better than I did.
Well, no, I'm sure.
We got to hear your list. We got to hear your list.
Let's hear how it sounds.
My list is very different. I'll start with number 10. I know this year, but also know he's been to a Final 2.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Beard, 10. Dana Altman, 9. Sean Miller at Texas, 8. Been a couple different coaching stops. I have Mick Cronin at 7. 7 of my 10's been to a Final 4. 3 of the 10's been to a Final 2. 7, Mick Cronin. 6, Grant McCaslin. 5, Nate Oates. 4, John Shira. Then Underwood, Barnes, Few, and Sampson.
I like that. I think yours is really good.
Yeah.
I like yours.
Other than I think I got 11 in there.
I think you do have 11 in there. I
think I do have 11 in there. So Beard's outside looking in.
Okay, I love an OLI. So give me your top 3 again.
Sampson 1, Few 2, and they're 1 and 2 everywhere, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Kind of John Chaney and Coach Sutton, aren't they?
They definitely are.
Rick Barnes really fits the Coach Sutton mold. Yeah. Great coach. A lot of stops. Love him running your program. It just hadn't cut the nets down.
That's right. Yeah. No, he absolutely is kind of that one that it's getting later and later and later for him and for
only one
all
Final
these 3 of those
Four,
guys.
and that was at Texas.
Yeah, that's right.
23 years ago.
Yeah, and so I mean, it's just will it happen? Can it happen? And I think if you were ranking those 3 on kind of who has the best chance this year and kind of going forward, I mean, I'd probably go Sampson 1. And then I really don't know who I would put next between Few and Barnes. I don't know out of those 3, because those are the 3 that just every year it's can they get it done? Can they get it done? And they just haven't been able to.
They haven't.
But I like your list. I think a lot of the guys.
I don't love it.
No, I like your list. A lot of the guys you listed, were certainly in my conversation. It just got down to the point where I said, "Man, these guys aren't in there."
We had a lot of names though.
We did. No, we definitely did, which is good. I mean, there's a lot of really good coaches out there, and not a lot of winners.
Sure could be off the list this year.
Yeah, he definitely could. I mean, that team he has right now definitely has the making to win it all. And then
Shira.
Oh yeah, I mean, now these injuries they worry me a lot, especially with Foster. And if he's not able to go in the NCAA tournament, Gongba, if he can come back, how effective will he be? I'm worried about those injuries for Duke, but they certainly, if they're healthy, have the guys to maybe.
Y'all right on Painter. That's a big miss for me. He probably should be over there ahead of Grant McCaslin. Been around longer.
Yeah, but I like McCaslin a lot. I think what he has done
might be a little soon for him.
Yeah, but I think kind of in the terms of the way I did it, McCaslin was right there. If I extended mine and had one more OLI, he'd probably be in there. I banned Nate Oates from my list. He wasn't allowed there.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't stand that guy.
About with you.
Yeah, I mean, but good for him. Hope he has a good coaching career. But not on my
happy
list.
trails.
Yeah, happy trails. That's exactly right. But no, I like your list a lot. I like.
But the scar tissue will build for Sampson, Few, Barnes. this year if they don't win it.
Yeah, and I just, like I said, I mean, I think I really, if I was putting money down, I'd probably bet against one of those three. Or I would absolutely bet against one of those threes and winning it. I think Houston has the best opportunity with the team they have. And then I'd maybe say Tennessee and then Gonzaga. And we'll see Gonzaga tonight against Santa Clara for the WCC championship game, their final opportunity to win a WCC tournament. So, maybe they get hot, maybe Tennessee gets hot, maybe Houston gets hot. They're certainly going to be in a spot where they can make a deep run. But those every year. I mean, those are the three names that we talk about. When can they get it done, and can they get over that hump?
A tradition unlike any other all time. Santa Clara ever been to a Final Four?
No.
Landon?
I'll go with the opposite. I'll go with yes.
Yes, they have.
Yeah,
they have been to a Final Four. I'm trying to find the year.
You said it very confidently.
Well, it wasn't. I almost said
the confidence that fools.
Because
it was not with Steve Nash.
Yeah, I don't know what year that was, but after I said no, I was like, that's not right. That they definitely have been to a Final Four.
11 NCAA tournaments, 1 Final Four, but I can't find the year, but it's way back.
No, it's going back a really long time to find that one. We talked about WCC later tonight with their championship game. That is one of 5 conference championship games on the slate tonight. Monmouth Hofstra in the CAA championship, Mercyhurst LIU in the NEC final. Now we that one is a final, but we do know that LIU is going to the NCAA tournament. Mercyhurst still in their transition period. Detroit Wright State in the Horizon League. Gonzaga Santa Clara, like we mentioned, the WCC, and then Siena Merrimack in the MAAC championship game. So 5 tickets being punched. I guess technically 4 because we already know one has been punched. But tickets being punched tonight all over the place.
Boy, not only for Tyler Hero, but even for me. Great Caesars Ghost Final Four for Santa Clara, 1952.
All right, that's going back. That is going back a really long time.
That's Peach Basket as well.
Yeah. That is a long ways back. But no, I like all 3 of our lists. I think we did a really, really nice job with that. And we'll see if one of these coaches can come off that list.
It'll be fun to see who breaks through. Listen up, Mid-South, Landers Ford, and Collierville. They have no payments for 90 days. That's right. During Ford Truck Month, your number 1 Ford dealer, Landers Ford. They give you payment relief, new Ford F-150s, 0% APR financing for 60 months, 0 down payments, and 0 payments for 90 days. Are you listening? New F-150s, 0% APR financing for 60 months, 0 down payment, and 0 payments for 90 days. That's a lot of zeros. Get started now with their Landers Easy Pass at LandersFordMemphis.com. Shop one of the largest selections of new Fords before they're sold out. It's only once a year, so act now. Still time to do it today. First thing in the morning. All the basketball is going to be on at the dealership this week, next week, all through March Madness. 0% APR, 0 down payment, 0 payments for 90 days. You heard it here first. There's 0 to pay to drive today at Landers Ford in Collierville. Give them a call to schedule your test drive. Landers Ford in Collierville. If it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
Well, let's get to another break. When we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Available locally on your radio dial as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, it's easy to stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Listen up, Mid-South. Landers Ford in Collierville says make no payments for 90 days. That's right. During Ford Truck Month, your number 1 Ford dealer gives you payment relief. New Ford F-150, 0% APR financing for 60 months. 0 down payments. 0 payments for 90 days. Are you listening? New F-150s, 0% APR financing for 60 months. 0 down payments. 0 payments for 90 days. Get started now with our Landers Easy Pass at LandersFordMemphis.com. Shop one of the largest selections of new Fords before they're sold. It's only once a year. Act now. 0% APR, 0 down payment, 0 payments for 90 days. There's 0 to pay to drive today. Landers Ford in Colliersville. If it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much. As reported on Boards 2025
2025 total new vehicle retail sales report, Memphis market, with approved credit from Ford Credit. Minimum monthly payment of $1667 per 1,000 finance, regardless of down payment. Interest accrues from inception. Example: 2025 Ford F-150 Lariat. VIN number 1FTFW5L8 XSFB 43528. MSRP $71,675. Ford bonus cash $1,000. Sale price $70,675. Based on 0% APR financing for 60 months. Price, tax, title, and $695 processing fee. See dealer for complete details. Offer ends 4/2/26.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgos. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in a 32-ounce jar. It's so good to base or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef, and she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet or a steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meats. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper was more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with a perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at the Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it.
A beloved family affair and still going strong since 1948, the Rendezvous.
It's a new year, and it's the first new sale at Family Leisure. It's the floor model sale happening now. Family Leisure has deep, like diving deep discounts on over 100 display models and in-stock hot tubs, swim spas, even those cold plunges. How deep are these discounts? I'm not allowed to say. So if you've been putting off getting a new spa, then right now is the best time to buy. Here's one price I can let loose. You can get a spa as low as $99 a month. Plus, you can get over $1,000 in upgrades with every spa purchased. One other special deal, you can get an $8,000 spa for only $159 a month. And you know what? Family Leisure is going to throw in some LED lights and waterfalls on most models. Room's got to be made, and so do the deals at Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about anything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, Tito's is known for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits to serve its communities and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's. Distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Incorporated, Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Dacus.
And she says, I wish that I could.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, my big number today is the number 342. That number comes from the...
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a good big number today. It comes from the NBA, and it comes from Alperen Şengün as the Rockets, they will be in action later tonight at home against the Raptors. Şengün enters the day with 1,504 assists and 996 offensive rebounds in 342 NBA games. The fewest games it has taken any player to make their NBA ABA debut since offensive rebounds were first tracked in 1973-74 to reach 15,000 assists and 1,000 offensive rebounds in 359 games was Chris Weber. So Alperen Şengün could tonight, with just 4 rebounds, get over that 1,000 offensive rebound mark and be the first player in the fewest amount of games to reach over 1,500 assists and 1,000 offensive rebounds in NBA history. That'd be fun.
Do you remember who first on these airwaves said, look out for Alperen Şengün, he's going to be a star?
I do not, no.
Was not me. It was our friend Jay Morgan Hart.
Yeah, oh no, he definitely was. He was all over Alperen Şengün.
He sure was.
And he's turned into a phenomenal player with the Houston Rockets. Yeah, something like that, yes.
My big number, way off of yours. Mine's 8.
Oh, wow.
Big Blue Nation about to invade Nashville, but it's been 8 years, 2018, since Kentucky last won an SEC tournament in Nashville. Or anywhere, and that was in St. Louis when they won it in 2018. They won it 3 straight in Nashville, 15, 16, and 17, but it's been a while, and they're going to roll in and take over, but they haven't stayed around for a net-cutting ceremony on Sunday in a while.
No, and it's going to be it's going to be an uphill battle this year to do it in Nashville, and it's just another one of those teams that just really missed in the portal. Obviously, they've had some injuries that have really hurt them. But the biggest thing that's going to be remembered about this season is that price tag around this roster and the lack of success that they've had throughout the season with it. And in 5 years, everyone will be talking about that. Nobody will really be talking about those injuries that they've had.
For Pope?
Because it's Kentucky, he probably will be. I don't think he should be.
One.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of where that program is. It's a very proud program, and they've had a lot of success, and so there's a reason to have that type of expectation. So I think it'll definitely be a little warm. I don't think it probably should be. But it feels like a big off season for him to go out there and really try to bring in some guys that
it's the life
can
they
get
chose.
It done. Yeah, no, it is, and we'll see.
Big money, big pressure.
It is
big glory, and very short fuses.
It is, and it's changing by the day. It's changed a lot in the last couple of years with what the transfer portal is now and how different fan bases and athletic departments.
Brian Kelly, you got to figure out how to spend $800,000 a month.
That's true, but I mean these fan bases and these athletic departments, they're asking for quicker turnarounds and quicker success and come in and do it immediately and do it year after year. With the transfer portal, and obviously at Kentucky, you have the resources to go out there and really, really dominate. But I think he's a great coach. I think if something happens at Kentucky,
you think?
I think he's a really talented coach. Look at what he did at BYU and before that at Utah Valley. I think the X's and O's and different things he does is really, really good. But if you have years like this, it's a very makes it a very quick turnaround. Yeah,
coaching would be so much fun if it wasn't any pressure on winning.
Oh yeah, no, it would completely change the game. It would be,
and I think a lot of them would like to exist in that bubble. Sorry, you got to win.
No, they absolutely would, but it is a wins and losses.
And you know he loves his school, but sometimes loving your school is not enough.
Yeah, no, you're right. You got to come in and do the job, and it's a place where the job is excellence. It's not just be okay, be good, be decent. It's be one of the best teams in the country.
Hey, some other big numbers. Brian, I'm sorry that we did it. It's almost like declaring victory before a clock hit 0 in a game. We declared you having us dormy in Tiger Bankroll. I say us.
Right.
I mean, now Landon, not me. I'm in last. I win the senior division.
Okay.
And unlike the Rookie of the Year division, Rookie of the Year status runs out. There's only one way for senior division status to run out, and I ain't run out yet.
Well, that is unfortunate, but I guess
I'm at $60.
Yeah,
I'm at $60. Bryant, you're at $10.60, and Landon, you're at $900 after winning a whopping $400 on Sunday by a half point.
Wow, how about that?
I was excited about it.
You only trail Brian 160 in Tiger Bankroll, and Brian has to pick first because he's in first.
That's right. Good luck.
Thank you. Best of luck to you as well.
I'm not worried about it, but I appreciate it. So
I don't
Rookie
think
of the Year
best
coming
luck,
back.
Good luck ratings are sincere. I question the motives.
I don't think they are.
I don't think so. I think I'll still win. I'm not too worried about it.
And we still have to play it out smartly because you got to keep some money.
That's right. No, it's this is where it gets difficult. It would have been Would have been one thing, as unfortunate as it might have been for the season to end on Sunday, because then we would have known there's no more games no matter what. But now
banner goes up.
That's right. You don't know when the season is going to end now. But let's
go figure out where I'm gonna hang my senior banner.
No,
Gotta get a good place.
Yeah, you gotta find a good spot for it. But you got time to think about it. Well,
went right through 940.
Not a great season.
Really a microcosm of my gaming career.
Well, I guess so. Sometimes it's like that, Brett. It's unfortunate. But we got to get to a break, wrap up this second hour. When we return, we're switching gears completely. We're talking the NFL. Bo Marchant, he joins us next.
Unlock your new go-to spot, Codes Dispensary in Steele, Missouri, just over an hour from Memphis. When you're ready for a legal, reliable option, they're right up the road. Explore the full menu of top-shelf products in-store and online. Short on time? Order ahead and cruise through the drive-thru for a quick pickup. Stack rewards while you stock up with Club Codes. Earn points for every dollar spent. Codes Dispensary, now open in Steele, Missouri. Supreme Cannabis that's worth the drive. Learn more at CodesDispensary.com. That's CodesDispensary.com.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Sometimes an idea comes along that fills a void nobody even knew existed, and a few years ago, one of those ideas was Sunrise. We didn't know that Memphis had been waiting for a place that serves the freshest, fastest, made-to-order breakfast, and lunch for that matter, and then Sunrise on Jefferson opened, and we all realized that's what we'd been waiting for. And now, we also have Sunrise East on Poplar, because we needed that too. Both Sunrise locations provide the delicious food we've been craving, and now we can get, and we can only get, at Sunrise.
This traffic report brought to you by City Center Liquor just off Highway 70 in Lakeland. Local, friendly, and always fully stocked. For a 5% discount, tell them Sports 56 sent you.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Humdinger's Taco Tuesday. Enjoy crunchy slaw, grilled fish, and chicken, and the best taco sauce in town. $2 tacos all day. The best deal in town.
Sports 56 traffic.
Afternoon, heavier traffic volume pretty much on schedule out here. Trying to get south of Memphis with that volume starting to increase down 55, working your way down past State Line Road into South Haven. Still moving at the moment. Sam Cooper going outbound. Keeping an eye on that traffic. Watching it build, trying to get back up towards I-40. Hey, the low-cost drive-through vaccine clinic is back Saturday, March 21st at the Humane Society of Memphis, Shelby County. Go check out their website at memphishumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Memphis's original sports station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Love to feel the rain in the summertime.
back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our third and final hour on this Tuesday afternoon. Again, a reminder, we're out a little bit early today as Ole Miss baseball, Southern Miss in action tonight. We'll have full coverage of that game starting with the pregame show at 5:30. First pitch set for 6 o'clock. So we'll get out here a little bit earlier this afternoon. But right now we need to talk the NFL, and we do it at this time every single week with Beau Marchant.
National Football League talk every Tuesday with Beau Marchant, covering the NFL Draft at collegetopro.com and the NFL Draft Bible, covering the Steelers for Sports Illustrated, living and running in Eastern Ohio, and on Twitter X at Beau Marchant. Here's Beau with Bryant and Brett.
Beau Marchant joins us now to talk the NFL. We talk with him every single Tuesday afternoon, and there is a lot to discuss this afternoon as free agency frenzy is all over the place. Beau, what has been kind of the biggest story over the last 24 to 46, 40, since free agency opened, what has been the biggest story around the NFL?
Well, I think the lack of big name guys that I think can really make big impacts, I guess what it is. Like, I love what the Titans did, and I'm not just saying this because we're on Memphis, Sports 56, but, I don't think any team was signing like a superstar, that next generation Jamar Chase type talent. But I look at the Titans, the bulk of what they signed, I think they got contributors, overall, top to bottom, guys who can contribute. And on Sunday, I call it Sunday value. On Sunday, you're going to see that value as a collective come together. And I think some of the other odd pieces, like the Tyler Lindenbaum, 3 years, $81 million to the Raiders. I just, what are we doing here? You think that they're going to draft Fernando Mendoza, so it doesn't make sense. You want to get a center, but, you get mad at Max Crosby, and I know that was a kind of a thing that was going into effect last year when they benched him and everything that goes along with that power play, but I just think, the Raiders, they traded Khalil Mack years ago. They had a couple ones out of there. I just, to be able to capitalize on draft capital is a tricky thing when you have an elite guy. And, I think the Raiders, they took a step forward, maybe a step back. Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs, it sounds pretty, but, you couldn't run the ball because the offensive line is bad. You couldn't protect, Patrick Mahomes because the offensive line is bad. Seattle has a fantastic line. So, it makes everything pretty, kind of like a la Jared Goff when the Detroit Lions offensive line was at their peak. They're phenomenal offensively because, you can do so many things because you have gaps, you have time. So I could go on, but I think those are the lead stories. The Kenneth Walker thing, I love Walker. I love how he finished the playoffs in the Super Bowl with Seattle, obviously MVP, but I don't know how much of a real impact he has considering the Chiefs, they trade Trent McDuffie. They let, L'Jarius Sneed go a couple years ago. And I know you guys, the Titans fans, aren't fond of Sneed the way his career ended. But when McDuffie and Sneed were together in Kansas City, that was one of the most impactful dynamic duos in the secondary that I can recall in years. And they were every bit of as important as Mahomes winning that Super Bowl, having those guys on the back end to shut down those teams. So I think you look at the Chiefs, I think they're not in a rebuild, but when are you going to get Mahomes back? Kelsey said he's coming back, so he's going to be 37 in October. Will Mahomes be even back by October? So I don't know. I'm not in a foul mood with free agency, guys, but I just look at it and I just don't see a lot of it making sense. I think there's a lot of addition by subtraction or vice versa.
Yeah, I like those Kansas City defensive secondary players at other places, but here's what they're not going to have at these new places. They're not going to have Chris Jones in that defensive line in front of them.
No, and that's the other thing. Chris Jones, another year older. I just look at that. The Chiefs' defense. Spags going to have a lot of work to do to keep that team, up the standard that the Chiefs fans are used to. Just you got to have the talent, and I know nobody can keep elite guys for a long time. You got to invest $50 million in a quarterback. You got to invest another 25 through 40 for a receiver, another 50 for a defensive end tackle type guy. So. The bulk of it's gone right there. But I think the Chiefs, they got a lot of work to do defensively. Nothing that nobody knows and that doesn't know. And then you look at the offensive line that needs to be addressed. And that's going to be stuff that they're going to do via the draft. But you got to hope you nail these guys. If they're a bust or they're slow to learn, that's a whole year that you're trying to manufacture the production of elite individuals. And that's across the board for all teams through all this free agency period. You know, some teams are very, pleasantly happy. I think, again, if you're a Titans fan, just due to the bulk, almost $275 million, money spent, 170, I think, guaranteed. So, they added guys that, again, I think if the season opened tomorrow, you could say, hey, these guys are starters and they're building a roster, and you could say, listen, the Titans were 3-14 last year. Obviously anything they do at this point is going to be an improvement, but I think sitting fourth in the draft, do you take a Jeremiah Love there? Is that a possible guy? You add him to a second-year Cam Ward guy. Now, that's why the Chiefs signed Walker. They wanted to give the opportunity to run the ball effectively. And this is no disrespect to Tony Pollard, but you just got to think of that next level guy. Is he that next, Bijan Robinson? Is he the next Jamar Gibbs? That guy to translate the Saquon Barkley type atmosphere around that Titans offense, and that's what you envision if they go in that direction. So, but hey, we got more signings to go. Trey Henderson, he could have signed. I don't think he has yet, because it's such a fast, fluid thing. But you got Henderson out there. He's going to help somebody at age 31, and you just wonder, where he goes. Where I hope he goes. I hope he goes to a team that's, contending. An elite team where he could be the piece to get him over the hump. I hope he doesn't go to a down and out franchise just because he's going to say, hey, I got this much money. And, I always get a little bit let down when I see guys do that. I know you want to make a good living, you want to have a nest egg, but I think there's so much you can nest away before Father God's going to call you, you're not going to have it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We finally learned what's going to happen with Tua Tagovailoa as the Dolphins released him, and then later in the day he signs with the Atlanta Falcons. The Dolphins are going to bring in Malik Willis to be their quarterback. What'd you make of kind of everything that happened with those moves for both Miami and for Atlanta? Now Atlanta goes into next season with their top two quarterbacks being Michael Penix Jr. and Tua Tagovailoa, two guys that have had recent injuries stack up.
Yeah, you know what I love about it most, Brian, is I think, we're all kind of observers. We really don't know the inside scoop on, is Tua good? Or not good, but is he healthy? How far is this, these concussions set him back? So just say if Tua was, we know he was let go by Miami. So just say a week goes by and he's unsigned. Now we're 3 weeks. Now the little murmurs of, okay, this is a bad situation. He's not good. But I think him getting released and then the Falcons snapping him up that quickly, I think it shows that, these NFL front offices know that he can play the game. You don't want to see him get hurt or, the concussions and all that stuff, but maybe they can get him right mentally where that kind of, he erases that. And I don't think he was effective last year. I do think it's taken its toll on him, but I think it's good for Tua. And I'm not a big believer in Michael Penix at this point. So I like the Falcons saying, hey, you know what? We're going to let Penix, if he wins the job, he wins the job. I think they're playing, to a $1.3 million. So, the Dolphins are going to take care of the rest of that salary. So I like the competition side of it. And I just think it's a good sign for Tua that, you were on the free agent market for less than 8 hours maybe. Mm-hmm. And, you were immediately, swapped up by another team. So I like that aspect for both Atlanta. I like the upside of Tua more than I like the upside of Penix. Put it that way. I guess I'm revealing how much I like Penix as a player. I just didn't see that much, from him where I'm like, wow, I think this is the next guy. And you could also say, Tua was left in the scrap pile. He was released, and the Dolphins are really, ready to eat that contract. But when you look at Miami and what they did, they traded Minka Fitzpatrick away to the Dolphins. I think when you talk total rebuild, and I was kind of laughing with myself when that news came out because wasn't there, tanking for Tua? That was the theme in 2018, 2017, or whenever where Tua, was entering the draft. Now you got to think, what kind of chant can you think of where Miami's going to be tanking to get Archie Manning or et cetera? I think that's the next thing we're going to be. Miami somehow tanking Archie Manning or Arch Manning, arriving as a Dolphin because I don't see from the way the Dolphins are headed. I think it's going to be a lot of work. I mean, Malik Willis played great, but you're talking about the duration of a 17-game season. You want those guys to come in the spur of the moment. A la Malik Willis filling in for Jordan Love, having great success under the Matt LaFleur offense. But does that translate? And I know that the OC's down there in Miami, and that's the relationship kind of sealed the deal there. But it's a big difference between doing it in a I guess what's the word I'm looking for in the pitcher? You're that you're the relief guy kind of. You're not you're not pitching innings 1 through 6. You're coming in through innings 6 and 7 before the closer comes in. So but I like the Tua thing. I do. I like the upside for them. Not huge upside, but I just like it for Tua and maybe a different direction for that Atlanta offense under Stefanski.
I know the draft next year is going to be wild and all summer and into the fall, but right now I'm not so sure that Arch is the number 1 quarterback in the SEC, much less in the draft next year.
I believe that, but I think you just got to, with the lineage of that name, the DNA that represents his soul, you're going to have to say, he's going to be on the minds of most. And, just like last year before the season started, he was the proclaimed Heisman Trophy. He was the number 1 pick for the next 50 years. He was everything. So, if it doesn't come around next year, then
Woody
you can
Johnson takes him with the Jets, if for no other reason, the number of jerseys he can sell.
Yeah, it could be. Just say if he comes into the draft, and you think of the upside in the development. Like right now, if you could, if he was in the draft, how high would he go? And I think that's what it is. The ceiling of, or the unlimited ceiling of, if he develops into what people envision him to be. I think that's what get you into that Arch Manning, wheelhouse of, wow, this kid, all the family and everything that goes along with being a Manning playing quarterback. And that's what you get caught up in. It's, can you swell those thoughts and just look at the tape and go, okay, you know what? This guy right now,
you can
best grade we can do. Say if his last name was mine. If he was a Marchant, what is he? He's a 5th round pick. But he's a Manning, now he's a 3rd round pick, 2nd round pick. So that's where you got to get caught into. But I expect a better season for Manning. I really do. And I think if he plays anything
got
close
better
to
as
what
the year went on. He did.
Yeah, if he
his
plays
offensive line
anything
got
close,
better.
he's gonna, that whirlwind and the worldwide leader and every other media outlet is just gonna pump his name up to the highest highlights possible, just like last year. But last year, sadly, he couldn't deliver on the expectations that were kind of unduly put on him. He was going into year 1 and he was already anointed the best ever and, Heisman favorite and all those other accolades that you kind of got to earn.
Let's say at quarterback, is it fair to put this much pressure on Lamar Jackson for them signing Max Crosby? I hear people say next year, no excuses. It's win it all or bust for Lamar because they signed a great DN.
Yeah, I don't believe that. One, we know the Ravens' defense overall was hurt. A lot of they had attrition out there defensively with bodies, and I think Lamar Jackson was hurt. I don't know how much we'll ever find out, but I thought he was one of the worst elite quarterbacks we've seen, just spiral out of control. That kind of a great game in Buffalo. They have Buffalo on the ropes. And then, the Henry fumble, follows, and then they just never get back on track. And you watch some of the games that they lost and some of the passes he's thrown and just the miscues, misfires, ill-advised throws, just throws that I was just shocked. I'm like, if this wasn't Lamar Jackson, he'd be benched, or they'd be talking about the Ravens making an off-season move. But, he's elite for so many reasons. He just had a down year last year. So I don't put that all on him. I put a little bit on Harbaugh. We know, what game was it last year where, Henry had up team trillion yards rushing and he doesn't see another carry for half of the 4th quarter and they lose. And, I think that's where the Crosby effect comes. I still don't say it puts them over the top as a Super Bowl favorite, especially when you finished 8-9 last year and missed the playoffs. So, I think if they were on the cusp and they were playing their best football, maybe like a couple seasons ago, say they were the number 1 seed in the AFC last year, and you're like, okay, this thing's pointed, but you lose your head coach, he gets canned, that's a big transition, and you hope Jesse Minter can come in and right the ship. But even that's a big ask for any head coach for the first time. And I don't care what team you inherit, to say that, one guy can put you over the hump. I don't believe that. Even when he signed there, I love the move for them because you're getting an elite guy for a really good football team, but I don't think it puts them over the hump. It all starts with Jackson. Jackson has to play his best football. If he doesn't play his best football, you could have a few more Max Crosbys, and I really don't think. Well, I guess if you had a few more Max Crosbys on the team, then you'd probably have that Ravens defense with Ray Lewis and all those guys. So, you might win it because they won it with Trent Dilfer. So maybe with that defense, you could win it with Mark Jackson.
Yeah. But last thing for you, I like the move the Raiders made yesterday to go out and get three-time All-Pro center Tyler Linderbaum. It feels like we know what they're going to do with the number one pick. It's going to be Fernando Mendoza. We even saw that with the move sending Geno back to the Jets in a trade earlier today. I kind of like them showing that, hey, we're going to go out there and try to build an offensive line in front of this rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, you can't fault the move. I mean, you're talking about an elite guy at his position. You're talking about a Max Crosby as an edge rusher. Mm-hmm. You're talking to that elite guy in Linderbaum as the center, and you think you bring in a quarterback like Mendoza, and I think it's a good learning tool. Mendoza's going to be able to settle in behind an elite center who's usually one of the smartest guys on the team. What Mendoza isn't going to see from the defense, he's going to be hearing that from Tyler Linderbaum as the plays unfolding. He's going to, he's going to be able to make the checks and help, with the dialogue of saying, hey, this is what might be coming, change out of this, check into this. So I like that move. But the Max Crosby, that's not so much I think last year and then, that's when this transpires, a matter of time before he would get off the team. But I hope they're able to capitalize. We know the Khalil Mack, trade years ago, 2018, 2019, when they traded Mack away, they really never capitalized on the draft capital. So it's fun to have picks and think of the upside of draft capital, but you got to make draft capital work. And if you don't, you just got a big salary off your contract, football. And it's fantasy football. Yeah, you traded an elite guy and you get to pick two new rookies this year. So I hope it works. I do like the move, though. I mean, I like the move. The money was a little odd, that much money. I don't know why they had to reset the center market. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I guess what it is if Linderbaum didn't take the 3-year 81 from the Raiders, who else was in that realm? Like, how did the NFL collectively come together? And, hypothetically, you guys are the GMs for the Colts, and, one of you are the GM for the Rams, and I'm the GM for the Jets. And we're on, we're having conversations out of the confine. Like, hey, what do you think of Linderbaum? What would you pay Linderbaum? Like, hey, honestly, what would you pay him? Like, well, I'd give him $3 million, 56. I'll give him 3 years, 65. Do you be like, well, I don't know, like the 81? I just where those numbers come. Like the Jalen Phillips, the 120 for the Panthers. I mean, good player. I hope he contributes, but a lot of injuries. You got to kind of wonder, like, who would have beaten that deal? I guess that's what I get to the kind of confused about. It was, this is what you offered, but who was close in that realm where somebody was offering Linderbaum 3 years, $80 million, 3 years, $75 million, and the Raiders just said, all right, forget it, we're going all in on this guy. I mean, we saw it with Deshaun Watson. We knew he was going to Atlanta. That was a sealed deal before the Cleveland just threw the entire franchise and everything they had for him. But maybe that was the case. I hope it works out because with Gentry and Bowers and Mendoza, you got to like and Baum and Tyler, Linderbaum there. They're at least there, but defensively, you got to you got to replace the heart and soul of that Raiders franchise that's not there anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be a long rebuild for them for sure. But Bo, as always, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again next Tuesday.
Stay safe, gentlemen.
Thanks, Bo. Right back at you. Bo Marchant joining us every week to talk the NFL. Reminder, we're out early today. Ole Miss baseball against Southern Miss pregame starting here in just a couple minutes at 5:30. But before we get to Mo's Crunch Time, let me remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsor, Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team is ready to help you find your perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out those brand new models like the Range Rover Sport, the Range Rover Velar, and the Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. Perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today. Get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to JaguarBluffCity.com, but head out there, test drive these vehicles, 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince for Bluff City Jaguar. Let's go ahead and get to Mo's Crunch Time.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This game has always been called the world's greatest cocktail party. Do you know what is going to happen here tonight?
This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Crunch time between the hedges.
The ball game is over, and Memphis has its first win in 16 tries. Its first win ever against its fierce in-state rival Tennessee.
Goodbye! It's obviously crunch time. Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Well, Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill, but on Tuesdays, it's brought to you by Humdingers and Taco Tuesday. Make sure you go over there. They've got great deals on Taco Tuesday. $2 tacos all day long. It is by far the best deal in town. But Brett, what I learned today is actually a lot, but it was the agreement between the American and the A-10. Memphis will play Dayton. It will be part of a doubleheader starting next year. This is something that is a multi-year agreement. It will continue to grow, and I think the hope is to maybe make this some sort of challenge or have something set up with more teams involved. I would love to see it from the top down, because while I think it's good to highlight the top teams in the American and the A-10 every year, we're not talking about the type of schedules that Memphis has, the type of schedule that USF has. We're talking about the schedules that teams lower in the league have, where they're scheduling easy games against Division III, NAIA, Division II opponents. Those are the teams that I would like to see be playing in this A-10 thing, because those are the teams that could really use playing those type of opponents that would help Memphis in the long run.
What I learned today was confirmation from our friend Matt Infield from Action News 5. As far as bad as this year's been, win tomorrow night, there's a path to Saturday.
Yeah.
All we need is a little hope. I think the Tigers have some hope for Birmingham.
I think they should. I mean, we've been talking about it. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the semifinals against South Florida. I think it is wide open for Memphis over the next couple of days. Well, what I could have done without it really is this season for Baylor, as it came to an end today, 16-16. This is one of those teams that Memphis played earlier, and I think one of the best wins of the season, the way the year's turned out for Memphis. But when you look at what Baylor has been this year, they have not been very good at all. 16-16, 500. They've got a couple guys on that roster that could hear their names called in the upcoming first round of the NBA draft. They added James Najee middle of the season, but just putting that roster together, losing their starting point guard as late as they did, just a really, really bad season for Scott Drew.
Well, I could have done without. Look, for as bad as this year's been and as bad as the American Conference Tournament is, the CUSA Tournament begins today. I'd much rather be in the American Conference Tournament than back in Conference America.
Yeah, when that conference looks way different than what it looked like when Memphis
it was a joke
in there.
then.
Or the different names in there right now. It is hard to believe that's CUSA. Where are you beaming tonight?
Give me Kansas City in the Big 12. They at least have one team playing today in BYU that I think could get to an Elite Eight.
They could. That's another team with their injuries. It's always a question with them, but they are a really fun team to watch. And AJ DeMonza, they got the wacky court over there in the Big 12 tournament. I don't know about that court. It is, and I really still don't know how it works. But hey, good for them. Being me, I just want to have eyes on this WAC decision and what happens with Utah Valley. We talked about it earlier today. The conference demanding $1 million from Utah Valley, or at $700 7 o'clock, I believe 6 o'clock our time, so just in about 30 minutes or so, they will drop a new bracket if they do not have their buyout from Utah Valley, who's going to a different conference next year.
How much of live from on Golf Channel are you watching tonight from the 5th Major?
Goose egg, Brett. Goose egg.
Leaving it up to me?
I'm going to leave it to you. I'll watch the tournament when it starts, but I'm not watching any tonight.
I got it covered. Also on Channel 5 tonight, C's at Spurs.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun game tonight, and a lot of college basketball as we've got a handful of championships that will get started here very soon. CAA, NEC, Horizon, WCC, and the MAAC all name a champion tonight, so that'll be a lot of fun to watch with the Big 12, with the ACC, with the Big 10. But we're out here a little early this afternoon. Ole Miss baseball against Southern Miss. We'll have the pregame show coming up here in just a couple of minutes. That's all the time we have. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick, quality